colonies, since the colonies went against King George, looking for what they call liberty, freedom, to have a voice, to be recognized and governed by the consent of the governed, to have a voice in which the laws and things that you're made in order for you to be able to follow them. I love this man here because this man is bringing out all the racism. He's bringing out all of the different corruptions. He's identifying them by name. At least they're on the discussion table. You must understand that man and woman, as long as from Othello to Desdemona, you've had affairs with women. Why are we discussing the affair of a man that's dead 10 years ago when he wasn't even intending to be a president? We got that as the top position. The top position on the talk shows, breaking news about a lady and a man affair. The Americans ain't concerned with that. They're concerned about their kids. They're concerned about education. They're concerned about health care. The greatest richest nation in the world don't have a health care program. All the other nations have it that don't have nearly what we have. But we want to be able to ingratiate ourselves to the world by bribing them, by sending troops to them. And when I first started out, they said we were Yankee imperialists all around the world, and they said declare war on America and then get the Marshall Plan. That means they're pimping America. He is de-pimping the rest of the world. He's making people understand what time it is, no matter about what him. It ain't about Trump. Trump just got here. Our problem, baby, has been here way before Trump got here. You got to understand that Trayvon Martin and the Michael Young Brown and Ferguson, you got to talk about Eric Gardner, I can't breathe. You got to talk about the lady that was in the wheelchair, in the courtroom. And she said, I can't breathe, I need my medicine. The judge said, we didn't bring you here for you to get your medicine. You get that, answer the question. The lady dies right there in the courtroom, in the wheelchair. You know what I mean? These are the things you need to be talking about and talk about the system. And why do I love Trump? Because he put it in succinctly. We will create a whole new system. We will take this system apart. I want to make America great again, America first. So now we're going back where we should have been from the very, very beginning, because we want a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We talk and boast the self-evident truth, but we live and practice the self-evident lie. So don't talk about Kanye West. I love Kanye West.
Operative word is again. When has America been great the first time?
Well, America was great the first time when they put those cosmic words down. We hold these.
We were slaves then, though, Don.
That's what they got to get to that.
How you respond to
we're
people
slaves.
who say that?
You were slaves, and the slave mentality still exists today. That's what you got to understand. 40 years of indoctrination, and the slave laws still exist today. The black code, where you can kill blacks, the rights are valueless. They can be killed, and without consequences, with impunity, nobody can do anything. So this is what you got to understand. Talk about it, but he's bringing it to light. Now we can at least discuss it. Slavery, that's what we're dealing with. Why the slave master mentality say they separate one from the other.
But he lacks a multicultural cabinet, though.
But listen, don't.
No buts. He lacks a multicultural cabinet.
You got to understand something. Trump didn't do this. You understand? But he's the one that's got you discussing it. Now, the rest of them, they don't discuss it on the big talk show. They go talk about what lady he done had an affair with. Because he was practicing Clark Gable or Valentino.
I care less about what a man does.
That's
We're all men, Don.
And we all would be guilty. He without sin amongst us, let him cast the first stone. All right? So you got to understand something. Forget about the Trump thing, but think about America, the people, the greatest nation in the world, that we are discussing about what he did with some pimp woman or something, rather than talking about what our babies are going to get, our health care, our plans, about safety. Right now, you got two things I want you to see that we should be discussing that we're not. One is North Korea, and the other one is South Korea, and the other one is America. Now you can say what you will of me. This little guy named Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un developed a nuclear bomb. How did he do it? Because they had no respect for him. So they call him a buffoon and a lunatic. All right, so instead of lifting up a person that works with the hard work, sacrifice, dedication, and commitment to be what you want to be, what America touched him with. I knew his father, and his father was Kim Jong-il. It's Kim Soon-il, and he was a trendsetter for peace. Now we're talking about a lady on top position talk show when you got a would-be, could-be, hopefully, prayerfully not be a nuclear exchange that could destroy our human existence. So now you have to understand what time it is. Trump didn't do this, but he's bringing it out to our attention.
Obama was trying to do that too,
There's not a Latino, there's not a lot of Asian, there's not a lot of black signature on our Declaration of Independence. They
got the left out. So here's you're absolutely acute in what you're saying. the left outs, the white woman and the people of color. All right, so that's what we were chattel slaves. They were what they call concentric slavery. They would be talked and exalted and brainwashed to become their own victimizer. You know what I mean? So that's what we want. We want the left outs to be the inclusive. And so he's talking about inclusiveness. When you say a new system, that don't separate one from this or the other. It means a whole new system. He recognized the system's corruptness, and he went out there, and that's why the system is trying to destroy him. Everywhere you go, whatever
Tough
Trump
sell,
says,
Don.
everything, I know it is.
Sell,
Very difficult because the system is magnificent. It was just created for the wrong purpose. You know what I mean? White supremacy, male dominance white supremacy, not white supremacy. Because white supremacy is they leave out the white woman. And the white woman is nation time, from her loins spring nation time.
That's the mindset,
You know what I mean? So what we got to do is include, but let us deal with what is real. Let us deal practicality with reality. You know what I mean? We're talking about black people that don't have no voice, no rights. You know what I mean? And then what they do is they put out our longest reigning congressman, not Charles Rangel, Conyers, 38 years, and they put him out in disgrace. I mean, we have Cosby who forgot that he said, lift ourselves up by the bootstraps when we didn't have no boots to lift ourselves up by. And I told them that. Now look what they've done to him, destroying him. Universities giving him back his money. This is people taking away everything he had because some 30-year-old, 20-year-old type charges. You got to understand something, man. The system works, and it is working against all of us. So Trump at least brought that system to the table to be discussed. And in that discussion, we about to give our voice. We're going to be a part of the struggle. We're going to stand up and be representative of ourselves. So let's don't be derailed and circumvented and talk about Donald Trump, because he's just a figment of your imagination. This has been going on for, like you say, 400 years. All right, so now it's time to put a stop to it.
If you were in charge of the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fight, would it happen now?
I don't know. I don't know because the timing would be in what I feel in faith. You know, when I get the spirit, it is because I come to this spot by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in the Lord. He has never failed me yet. So I'm a promoter by faith, a speculative person. I live speculatively because I'll be able to change with the tide and change with the times. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen. Circumstances and events make things happen. And what we're witnessing right now, that we, right this day, are witnessing is a system that is trying to circumvent the will of the people. Nobody wanted Donald Trump to be president other than
still don't.
the will of the people. Oh, but he's dead now. The will of the people and God. Because the Republicans didn't want him, at least. The Democrats didn't want him. The super PACs didn't want him. The pharmaceutical companies didn't want him. Everybody, because they're always exploiting and robbing us, with corruption. Now, God intervened. And in God intervening, we got a president now that's creating that atmosphere where everybody can make their voice be heard. And then we got to do more than that. We got to stand up with him and change these laws, create that whole new system, and then be a part of that system that we're changing. That way you're going to be, they say, taxation without representation, a voice of laws that you have no part in making, but you have to be governed by them. Let's change that. He said, a new system, let's work with him to get that new system. And he will be one of the greatest presidents in the history of our world, of America, because he's standing up against an insurmountable difficulties and mountains of prejudice, racism, and skullduggery. So let us understand that the system is the enemy, not Donald J. Trump.
You mentioned in an interview that you feel that Deontay Wilder he needs a real promoter. In your opinion, has he not been promoted correctly? And if so, why hasn't he been promoted correctly?
Well, you got to understand, I'm not here to castigate, criticize.
No.
All right, I want you to understand
Just
that.
your opinion. Give your honest opinion.
Do what they have to do. But you got to understand that this young man is a guy, he's a talent. And he can be a voice. Wilder comes from the great state of Alabama. Alabama is the only other state in the country because Alabama has white supremacy by law. You ain't got to go nowhere. You need to go with it. That's the law. That's what Jeff Sessions was raised up with. He don't know. He's a lawmonger. He wants to be law and order. But law and order say you don't exist. Law and order, I don't exist. Law and order, so he's filling out the law. So that's what you understand. The rest of them do the same thing, but they do it by throw a rock and hide their hand. You find the same type of skullduggery, the same type of discrimination, the same type of prejudice, and that you've been confronted with everywhere around the nation. This is not a sectional problem. This is a moral problem for the nation. You know what I mean? But the only one that faced up to it was a guy named John B. Knox. He was the president of the 1901 convention. He said, what do we want? We want white supremacy. The white male must dominate. You know what I mean? And so therefore, they put it into the law. Nobody talks about that. Let's talk about that law. Let's change that law. Where it got a law that states anybody of color, you know what I mean, is not worthy of being next to any white man. He says, and then you got the leader, the Confederate founding father, J.C. Calhoun. He said, it's only two divisions in this country, not the rich and the poor, it's the black and the white. He said, and any of the white should be superior, he said, because even if they're ignorant and don't have no learning, they're white so they can get a chance to work hard and remove themselves from poverty and destitution. So you got to understand what you're dealing with.
So back to
Let's
Wilder.
talk about that.
Back to Wilder.
All right, so now,
Wilder.
Okay, yeah. All right, Wilder is from Alabama.
Yeah, but I'm asking
Wilder
you
can
based on...
speak to that issue.
Yeah, no, I know he
You
can. I know he can.
My mother's from Alabama.
And you spoke on the issue.
Yeah, no, but
your
let's
opinion
bring it out.
I know.
That's the real fight. And then Wilder would
But just give me your opinion.
do nothing
But
with
give
the
me your
world
opinion on how he's been promoted, how he's been marketing.
He's been marketing himself. He's been promoting and doing what he has to do, and the ones who's been with him are doing what they have to do. But it takes a little heart to stand up and challenge, and that's what you got to understand about Donald Trump. I tip my hat to him. He challenged the system. Wilder would challenge the system if somebody would help him. Somebody would show him and guide him the way, because he's in a state that he can make an example of for the rest of America. You know, that's why I put Trump on the American thing here with all of the founding guys up on Mount Rushmore. You know, you see him there. That's Donald Trump. He put his life in danger. He put his family's life in danger. He put his friends who support him's life in danger. Look how they're slaughtering Kanye West for saying that he loved Donald Trump. He just can't explain it like I can.
No, 400 years of slavery was a choice.
No, the choice is you don't have a choice. That's why he made a mistake at. He ain't got no choice. You know what I mean? They make the choice for you. You know what I mean? Here's what they do. They convince you to hurt yourself. They will hold yourself in contempt. You know what I mean? That's what the difference is. You look in the mirror and you see yourself and you hold yourself in contempt. All right? The slave master used that. He would pit you against me and me against you. You know, you have what they have the field end and you have the house end. And the house end, the fire catches the house catches on fire. Our house is on fire. Our master is sick. And the field end, he's blowing. Blow it, burn it down. Burn it down. He's blowing. You understand what I mean? That mentality still exists about putting each other down instead of lifting each other up. All right, so we got to change it. A new system changes that if
Donald
we be a
Trump
part
ain't
of
a
it.
part of the new system.
Yeah, listen, but he called for it.
But I know we should just talk about
No,
it.
he
because we're
called
not
for
going
it.
nowhere.
He called for it. It gives us a chance as human beings to come together, black and white alike, and work together and working together well.
These days,
Obama didn't
Israel
do that?
is celebrating 70 years. You've always been with the flag of Israel, always supported them. Why?
Because Israel made me the what they call it, ambassador for peace in the Middle East. Shimon Peres and Ari Savar, they appointed me after Nelson Mandela made me a world ambassador for peace, and Israel comes up and get me in the, and I introduce the world in Israel to go with all sides. I'm also on the Iranian board. I'm on the Iranian board, on the Israeli board. You know what I mean? So you got to talk with common sense. You know what? How can you hate somebody for thousands of years? You don't even know why you're hating them. When you just kill them indiscriminately, you know, without compunction or remorse. You got to be able to deal with people like all God's children. And this is what you got to deal with, and so you got to be real. But you can't be one-sided, double-sided, biased, and double-standard. That's what they're doing here. The most disparaged president in the history of America is Donald Trump. You know, because everybody, from anything he said, every utterance, is going to be painted negative. I don't care what he do. He could be a second coming. He would be painted negative. So you got to understand, dealing with that, forget about Donald Trump. Think about what he represents. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to think and echo the words of that young patriot of old. As for what course other may take, I know not. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. This is what we got to be fighting about, not about some Daniel or whoever. What the hell you talking about, man? And then Jesus even simplified that. If you look at a woman with lust, he said, you have committed adultery. Welcome home, said the spider to the fly. You know, every man out here would be in trouble. If you ain't gonna be patting or holding, kissing, whatever you're trying to do to get out of the cop, you ain't gonna get her. You know, and if she don't be flirtatious and receptive, you ain't gonna get her. I'm against anybody that takes it and wanna take it and throw them down and gonna rape them. But other than that, that's what the exchange is, man. So they are the left outs. We're the left outs. We got to be able to work with it. At least we got a chance to discuss it. The good old boys club would be sweeping it under the rug. You would even hear about it and make the decisions for you, make you think you're making the decision for yourself. You ain't making the decision for yourself, and a woman can't even make a decision about her own body. You know, if she gets hurt in the side, you know, I'm gonna know better how the pain in the side is than she do. I know better for her than she knows for herself. That's ridiculous. Ain't no Bible say that. Ain't no God say that. Ain't no scripture say that. You know what I mean? But that's the way it is. So what we got to do is this man has given us, American people, an opportunity. He put himself in harm's way, his family in harm's way. You can look at him how they're trying to destroy the family. You know what I mean? Don't they do it? Now what we got to do is to grasp the opportunity, seize the time. Grasp the opportunity, make America work as the greatest nation in the world, and we got to make it work, live up to its promise. And that's all: liberty, freedom, justice, and equality.
Y veo 5 de mayo.
Cinco de Mayo was the part of the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality. You got Hidalgo. Hidalgo's the Mexicanos. Viva Mexico. All right, that's in September 15th, 1815. But before then, you had the guys that were fighting for the peasants in Mexico, Emiliano Zapata, Pancho Villa, fighting against the Confederates. You know what I mean? We can't do it. And you got Juan Benito Suarez. You got El Blanco. You got all of them that are working for the betterment of Mexico and the common people, the small people. You know what I mean? So not the dictatorship, but that's things of love, unity, solidarity, and upward mobility, working together. And that's what we got to do. That's why Mexico, Cinco de Mayo, Battle of El Pueblo, all of those are very important things for Mexico. I am Mexicano, mi casa su casa.
When do we see Adonis tomorrow? When do we see Adonis tomorrow?
Adonis is going to be history in the making. I'm so happy because he's Armenian. He's an Armenian that came with a desire to try to change things, to be fighting. He had to suffer a year and a half of disappointment based upon following the law. That's what I'm trying to say. The law and order, they got to change that law now. The WBC say you can't fight another fight if you're a mandatory challenge or you lose your opportunity to fight for the crown. All right, so he did that. He signed up and he followed the rules. Ishi Smith pulls out after he get down there. Now that's 8 months gone. All right, then I say give him the fight, give him the title shot by default. Then they say, oh no, we can't do that. We got to give fair play. They appoint Selecki. Selecki, he comes in. We come to Mexico, spend $22,000, try to win the thing. Everybody say the bout's on. He pulls out. That's now another 8 months. I mean, so Vanis is a child of struggle and hardships. I mean, so something is in the air that's different from anything else. And now we end up fighting for 4 titles rather than 1. You know what I mean? So God is in the plan. And I say, you guys gonna see something that's gonna be destiny. It's gonna be history in the making.
You think he knocks him out?
I don't know what's gonna happen. All I know is that this is a fight promoted by God through the instruments of human beings like, Tom Loeffler, Peter Nelson, HBO, because they held on to the date rather than to the fight. When Canelo withdrew, they had 4 or 5 guys that came up that was tossed around as the would-be opponent. None of them came. But here out of the blue, we hustled Jose Suleiman's son, Mauricio, and my hijo. He became, he put Vanis in there. And with Vanis being in there now, I think you're going to witness greatness and history in the making tomorrow night on Cinco de Mayo when the title changes forms. But it ain't going to be bad because of his United and Golovkin, whatever Golovkin. He's going to become a whole fighter because he's going to lose and he's going to know what it is to stumble and fall. How will he react when he stumbles and falls?
Well, and you said you'll give him a rematch too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We got to give him another chance because that's what fair play is. You know what I mean? Because he ain't going to lose because losing is just something that's going to, shadow going to just get over him. You know what I mean? And Vanis is going to be right there. You know what I mean? So something's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be some kind of major upset. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'll look at the man on high who sits high, looks low, and keep an eye on the sparrow. Something is going to happen. You know what I mean? And so I'm looking forward to it being Vanis. You know what I mean? And when that happens, it's going to shock the world. And we're going to do it. And I'm glad to be in California. And I got to get the governor. I got to get Brown down here. Mr. Governor Brown, come on down. You know what I mean? Because you got your state is about to witness history in the making.
Like Japan with Tyson and
yes, and Ali and Foreman. I mean Ali and Ali and Foreman, the Rumble in the Jungle. All of these type of things is coming up that you had no chance. This boy ain't even on the thing. This guy just told me 33-1. And it was what is it? What are you talking about? He don't even exist. All right, now let's see do he exist tomorrow. Let's see if that ghost becomes real. You know what I mean? That ghost becomes real, it's gonna have a real deal. You know, then we're gonna be able to deal with it. But in the meantime, that's just a branch on the tree. We got to get the tree. If a tree bear good fruit, you want to eat it. If a tree bear ill fruit, you want to get rid of it. And we got to get rid of this system. Not Trump, not whoever it is. Get rid of this system. This system that devalues life like it's nothing. This system that looks at you by the pigmentation of your your skin, and the color of your skin rather than what's in your heart and the contents of your character. Can't have that. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to deal with what the country was conceived in: liberty, justice, and equality.
Yeah, but the same things we're fighting for, like a Tamir Rice out of Ohio. Donald Trump doesn't even mention it. He mentioned it on Twitter, in his cabinet. There's no one that looks like you. There's no one that looks like me in his cabinet.
It doesn't matter. Did you hear what he said? Do you have to understand something? We will create
We
a
can't
whole.
put them in
No, no, it ain't up to him. It's up to you. You can't sit back and wait and don't do nothing. When they say the majority rule, it's by the majority who participates. You got to stand up and get involved. If you get involved and you say, okay, here's a sheet of paper now, we're going to start structuring our system. God damn it, have your voice be met there. And get your agenda up with your rally with all the people that who love freedom, put them there. So then that can start building the blocks of freedom like they're building the blocks of impeachment right now. What they have done right now, they got this man, they can't impeach him because the people ain't gonna let him. But they won't impeach him, but they put all the blocks, building blocks in place. If he get caught with one little thing that have any consequence, that would be the catalyst to bring it all together and they would oust him. Don't you understand? Look in the mirror.
You know why? It's just tough because I know your history. I know your story from Cleveland, and it's just hard for me as a black man looking at you with pens of Donald Trump because I know your story. I know how you rose from Cleveland.
Don't shortchange yourself. You know what happened. Donald Trump just arrived on the scene and ain't even been 2 years.
I'm talking about you.
No. But you're losing sight of the forest for the trees. You know, we want you to be able to deal with what is real. It ain't about what anything do. Trump is at least bringing it to be discussed before you didn't even have a chance to be discussed. And you say anything about it,
Malcolm X will be disappointed.
Yeah, no, Malcolm X will on the money.
Malcolm X
will be on the money.
Because you and Malcolm X were pretty similar.
Yeah, and listen, right now,
Little and Donna King
fighting for America. Fight for America. Don't fight against an individual. You know what I mean? Fight for America. America, the greatest nation in the world. Fight for it. It's worth dying for. Freedom is worth dying for. So you got to be able to pay that price if necessary. But don't be caught up and be derailed in personalities. You know what I mean? Fight for principles and rights.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So let's do that.
I appreciate you, Don.
Hey.
Pequeño mexicano está esperando por usted.